Hey, what's happening, folks? It's Jimmy G in the place to be. Welcome back to another episode of The Good, The Bad, The Awesome. If this is your first time here, please go ahead and like and subscribe. If you've been here before, thank you. As we are on our march to 1,000 subscribers by the end of the year. Right now, we're currently sitting at 376, so we're pretty close to that 400 mark where we'll have a 400 giveaway. Just a reminder, we do have our July giveaway going on right now, which is a Dark Knight theme, which is Batman stuff, so make sure to look at that video to see how you can win. And then also, right now I'm filming this, I just got back from Fanboy Expo, which has been a phenomenal time, so I'll be putting together a video for that, and some of y'all are enjoying some of the panels. Right now, the panels that are posted is the Cobra Kai and the Wayne Knight panel, but I also have a Lord of the Rings panel, a Pinky and the Brain panel, a Dragon Ball Z panel, Minnie Mouse panel, so just several different panels to kind of put on there that they'll just release periodically, where my videos normally are Monday, Wednesday, Friday. I'll probably be releasing these panels on Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday, and Sunday, so be on the lookout for those. They're straight up. I don't have a mic jack to get in, so the sound is raw, the footage is raw, and all that good stuff, because I had to kind of fight for seating. Pro tip, I'll remember next time, if I want to definitely film these things, get VIP, because you have priority seating in these events, and so I will remember to get VIP next time, so that way I can be on the front row for you all on all of these wonderful pop culture icons. Well, as you know, we like to do a lot of things that are all things pop culture, mainly Star Wars, Transformers, sprinkled in with some other stuff, and mainly a lot of times it's just my first reaction to opening some stuff in my initial review, so sometimes I miss things on that, and I forget things. So thank you to a YouTube user or YouTube person, Splinter Snakeo. He brought up a video that I did a long time ago, back when I first was starting out a little bit, around my McFarlane Demon Slayer figures, and something that I did fail to do was go over some of the real good articulation on that. And so thank you for that feedback, because that helps me get better. And anytime any of y'all have any feedback, feel free to let me know. You can email me at jimmyg@thegoodthebadtheawesome.com, or if there's, whatever it may be, as long as it's constructive, I'll be more than glad to take it. You can't say, hey, you're fat, or you wear weird shoes or anything like that, because I already know that. But anything that can help make this channel better, I will do my best to do that. So because of his feedback, what I'm going to do is we want to revisit these McFarlane Demon Slayer figures, the 7-inch in particular, to just look at that articulation and see how well it articulates. And I'd like to compare it with the Bandai Legends Demon Slayer figures. And so what we're going to look at, Tanjiro, we're going to look at Zenitsu, and we're going to look at Nezuko in specific on that. And we're going to take a look at their articulation and who has the better articulation, but who has the better face, and which one I like better, and which one I think you should go with, or my opinions on that. And that's what these are. These are my opinions. I bought them, so I get to have these opinions, right? So come on back to my lab as we get ready to talk through some of these people. And here we are in my laboratory, and I've got all three McFarlane 7-inch figures right here. If you did not watch my first impression review, you can check that out on my channel. I'll put a link to it down below. I'll also put a link down to the 5-inch McFarlane figures, as well as the Bandai figures too as well. And so just again, the 3 7-inchers that are released, we do have Tanjiro right here, and then we have Zenitsu, and then we have Nezuko. So if you haven't watched Demon Slayer, we won't get into the lore and stuff like that. But what we want to get into right now, in particular, is just articulation-wise. One of the things about McFarlane Figures is there's a lot of different points of articulation. I'll put exactly how many different points of articulation down below that you do have for Tanjiro, but let's start at the top. So you do have the head is on a ball joint. You can kind of put it whichever way you want. He can do that chicken neck rolling thing if you want him to. And then you also have a bit of an ab crunch here. So you can lean it back pretty far and then lean it forward as well. And then you do have 360 waist rotation. Now, something that makes it a little bit difficult is his robe here. I mean, it is a soft plastic, but it does make it a hair difficult to kind of do that rotation. Now, let's take a look at the arm in particular. So that's as far as I can move it out right there, but you do have it on a 360 right there. And then this part right here is basically on where you can almost 90 degree it, but you got a bit of, you can see that right there. And it's like, it feels like it's on a ratchet. And then on the wrist, you do have that is on a ball joint as well that you can kind of move around there too. So it's a lot of really good points here. It would be cool if this part, oh, yep, actually, never mind. This part does have rotation as well, so you can kind of rotate that however you want to. And then he also has different hands that you can put on. All the McFarlane figures come with different hands, as well as the Bandai figures too as well. Sorry, I bumped my camera. Now let's take a look at the leg. As far as going out, you can almost do the Jean-Claude Van Damme with them. Just about, not quite, because this right here, even though it's a soft plastic, it does hinder it a little bit from getting there. So that right there is probably as far as you'll get to kind of hold a pose. But when you get into it, you do have, you can kind of see that ratchet joint down here. So I don't know if you can kind of take a look at that and see that. Let me see if I can bring this light in a little bit closer. But you can see kind of the ratchet that's on, which gives you a bit of a 360 turn here, as well as that ratchet right there too. And then this leg right here, you got, oh, sorry. I pulled his leg off because my light went down. I'm working in cramped quarters. Let's put his leg back on. There we go. So you do have, it's a ratcheted kind of ball joint there. And it can move, but you don't get a lot of movement there. It's a little tough. And then the foot, you do get the foot rotation. It's on a ball too as well. What I like is these joints, they kind of have a ratcheted kind of feel to them. You can't really hear it, but they do have kind of a ratcheted feel. So you can go up, down, side, side, and then the foot right here. This is what's cool. So if I want to get him in different poses, you have that right there where you can kind of really get him standing how you want and get him posed however you feel is amazingly necessary for your figure. So that is a little bit about Tanjiro, and pretty much Zenitsu is exactly the same. So his, I won't go through his posing, but it is exactly the same. I mean, you still got the same arm, twist, twist, ratchet, ball joint, ab crunch, swirl, Jean-Claude, you know, circle, ratchet, kind of on a ball right there, and then this one too. So Zenitsu, exactly the same. And then the hands, he does come with fisted hands too as well. One of the things I do wish, and I don't know if McFarlane can ever get it done, is the face plates. I would love for them to have different face plates. And from a look standpoint, y'all heard me say this before, but I believe the McFarlane figures are a bit more animation accurate. I mean, they got more of a matte look to it. I think they look more amazing. So let me pull over my 5-inch McFarlane Tanjiro so you can kind of see the difference here between the two. And from an articulation standpoint, these guys don't have a lot. I mean, you get some wrist rotation, you get the arm that can move, but there's no elbow joint. The head, it's on a swivel, but not at a ball. The waist is on a swivel, but not kind of, you don't get an ab crunch. And then the legs, no movement there, but you do get movement here on that. So these are mainly meant for, hey, I want something fun to play with. Remember the old Kenner Star Wars figures, the retro figures? Not a lot of, you know, action Jackson with those, but I mean, they got the job done. That's what these do. But the price difference is there. So when you look, $24.99 most places for him, $9.99 for most places for him. Now, the one thing that I would say about the 5-inch McFarlane Figures, the one you should get that I think is really cool is, watch out Tanjiro, is the Zenitsu one here. And the main reason why, you got the eyes closed, so he's in his thunder breathing form, but you also get this backdrop here, and this backdrop goes really well. Doesn't go really well with the 7-inch because you can see it's a little too small, but I think it goes really well with the 5-inch Bandai, which is really cool, so I can really pose them. And so let me move these guys out of the way so we can kind of compare this Tanjiro also with the 5-inch Bandai Tanjiro on that too as well. So let's bring that one in here. And there he is. And so his head is, again, on a ball joint. So really cool. You get the ab crunch right there and a bit of a waist swivel. I don't know if you get that with this. Yeah, you get a little bit of a swivel there too as well. That you can actually 360 that if you wanted to. So you can do some really wild poses if you wanted to with that. So that's really cool. Something new I learned right there just now. But this one, yeah, you can kind of swivel that. And then the waist right there, not much of a swivel here on the waist on the Bandai one. The main reason why is because you have his sword sheath right here. But arm, got it out, swivel. You also have the swivel right here instead of on that part. And then you have your joint that comes like this, like so. And then the wrist, you get a couple wrists with him too. And then from the legs aspect, about that far out because that robe gets in the way, but if you move it out like that, you can kind of get a bit more, and then you can have that up like so. Looks like he's doing a kind of a cool kick. From a bend standpoint, you got a 90-degree bend on that, and there goes his arm, poor Tanjiro. And then from you don't have any twist here in the ankle, but you do have an ankle rocker and a little bit of an up and down there on that movement there. So if I had a Tengen, that would be kind of funny to have that arm part just pop off for those of you that watch the Entertainment District. But that's the difference there. But one of the things that I like better, the Bandai one has some really cool articulation, and he's only, I believe, like $15 or $16. This guy right here, I got him at Target, but the face is too shiny here for me, whereas the McFarlane one, it's got that matte kind of finish there. This face is a little too shiny. I don't know if you can see that aspect there, but his face, yeah, he needs some like Noxzema or something to knock that shine down. But yeah, so between the two, you can kind of see how tall. So he won't scale well with the McFarlane Figures, but he scales okay, I would say, with the 5-inch figures because they're almost the same size. He's just a little bit bigger on that too as well. So let's get into Nezuko because she's a little bit different than the others. Part of her difference is just her outfit. It's interesting. So they cut it like right here so you can get a bit more movement. Now there's nothing down there. It's like a Barbie doll. So so don't think you can see anything. So let's start with the head. You can get it all the way around, but that hair kind of gets in the way, but it is on a ball joint, so you can do some pretty cool poses there. And then the arm, again, with these McFarlane Figures, you got that ratchet that's out, and then you can twist, and then this part right here, you have the twist part, and then you also have the ratchet too as well. So and we can make her look really like Chrissy, wake up, you know, so we can get her looking pretty gnarly. And then you do have a bit of an ab crunch there too as well. It doesn't look like it holds really well, but it's okay. And you can twist at that part too as well. Now from a waist standpoint, this is the part that I hated. So right here, if you look in here, you can kind of see it's on a ball joint, but there's not a lot of movement you can do. And plus her leg really pops off real easy. That's the one thing I kind of did not like about this figure, is that leg just goes, hey, you know what? I don't want to work for you, so I'm going to pop off. I'm going to pop on off out of here. So let's pull that back on. There we go. But from a, you do have where you can full split it. Do have the rotation, you have a double knee joint here, so you really can get, I wonder if I can get that down. So it takes some movement, it takes some effort, but yeah, you can get that knee really down in there, and you can get that to bend a little bit too as well. I just can't get it right now, it's so tight, but yeah. And then the leg is on a ball joint, as well as the foot has that little piece there too as well. The one thing about her that I don't like is she does not balance well. So unless, you know, even if you had her stand, she's a tough one to kind of get to stand, where Tanjiro and them, you know, I can, like, look, Zenitsu standing. Oh, I said he was, now he's down. Zenitsu down. And then so, there we go, standing. Great, awesome. Nezuko's little chicken legs don't make that happen, because at least on my figure, it's pretty loose. And so you gotta kind of finagle this a little bit to get it to do its thing. There, oh. But then you can see it just does not like to do its thing. It doesn't like to stand. Now, compared to the 5-inch Nezuko, she actually looks meaner. She has the veins popping out. This one does not. Again, I love the animation accurate look. Now this one, no articulation again. You have some waist a little bit where you can do that. And then the foot, you do have a little there. And then the hand, you do have that rotation on that piece there. But again, this is more of a, hey, I need a cheap Nezuko toy, and here is a cheap Nezuko toy. But the thing I like about this 5-inch compared to the others is she does stand better. So there we go. Very easy. This one does not. Come on, Nezuko, stand better on those aspects. But the cool thing now, what I found is if you use her Demon Blood art hands and you get this set of hands to go with her, it kind of balances her out a little bit, and so it makes it easier for her to stand. And so when I was posing her, I had her on that. Even on the McFarlane Demon Slayer kind of pegged stand here, it's a little bit tough, but there you go. Now it says, hey, you know what, I'm going to do it. But there we go, I got her to stand. Yay! But getting her to pose into some different poses and things like that, that might be a little tougher. Now it's like, hey, you know what, Jimmy? Screw you. So, I'm sorry, language. But there we go. Let's see if I can, yeah. Ew, look at her fingers on that aspect. So, the other cool thing, so let's take a look really quickly at the swords. And so, first of all, we're going to take a look at Tanjiro's 7-inch sword versus his 5-inch sword. There they are. It's just a black sword. Tanjiro's is real simple. And then this is his sword for the Bandai one. As you can see, it does have a bit of a silver right there, as where, well, this is all black. Now, the detail in the hilt, I don't know if you can really see that or not. I can't get my camera to focus in on it. I like the hilt on this one better because it has a bit more detail. And it even has more detail on the smaller one than the Bandai one. It's a gray, but it's kind of cool. So whichever hilt you like better. The cool thing about the Bandai one, though, is you get a hilt that you can use to put in the sheath. So you can have a sheath there with those. Now, Zenitsu's swords, on the other hand, now his little 5-inch figure sword, it's a little crooked, but there you can kind of see a little bit of those differences there. And then there is the Bandai one. The thing I don't like about the Bandai one, no lightning bolts, whereas the McFarlane one has the lightning bolts on that aspect. So those are a bit on that aspect of those. And but yeah, from an articulation standpoint, I think, you know, I used to say Bandai was the winner, but after playing with the McFarlane one, I think it's got some really good, I mean, you can get them in some really cool poses. I'm not a very good pose person, but I'll try to be, but you can get some really kind of interesting poses. The one thing, like I said, I wish you can get the different face plates on these guys. But the Figma figures have more different face plates and different things you can put on. The one thing I like that Tanjiro's has, he has his water form too as well, his water breathing. But you get separate sets of hands and separate sets of hands and stuff like that with both the McFarlane and the Bandai. But yeah, there they are together, side by side. Which one do you like better? Bandai? McFarlane? So let's get back together and we'll kind of just give you my final thoughts and say, hey, this is the one you should get, or this is the one that I like better. But you know what? Beauty is in the eye of the beholder. So let's do that. And welcome back. I'm sweating like a stuck pig right now. It is kind of warm in this room with all the lights and no fan on because that fan leaves a lot of noise. So let's bring my two Tanjiros back. So I know I didn't spend a lot of time. So let's not bring Tanjiro. Let's bring Zenitsu because I didn't spend a lot of time with Zenitsu. I spent a lot of time with Tanjiro. From an articulation standpoint, Zenitsu and Tanjiro are exactly the same. Exactly the same, no different or anything like that. So one of the cool things, you can see some of the poses that I had from my previous review, and I'll stick them in here too as well, is you can kind of get almost that like thunder breathing, you know, kind of stance there. I wish you got that foot, I kind of like make it look like it's almost broken. And there we go. Oh my God. Oh, that's because I got the elbow joint the wrong way. And then you can kind of really get that going the way you need to go. Put that sword in his hand and you got that. That's where I wish he had the eyes that close, because then you can really do some cool kind of thunder breathing poses on that. Part of the hindrance in the articulation is the robe. The robes get in the way a little bit. That'd be cool if they were fabric. I think that would give it more to do, but I get it. Plastic's probably cheaper, and plus you can kind of put a little more kind of like faded kind of look on that plastic. But I like the fact that you have two swivel joints on the waist there versus just the one on the Bandai. So I changed my mind. McFarlane is the winner in both articulation and looks to me. So if there's a clear winner, if you have $24, go with the McFarlane figure. I think you'll be happy with it. And I hope, again, Todd Father, you release some others. Release the Hashira. Release the upper moons and the lower moons and all those ones so you can reenact those battles. Release the Tengen. Make it where his arm can pop off. That'd be awesome. But I would love to see some of those. I think it'd be cool in like a kind of a collector gift set if you had like all the Hashira together. I'd buy that for more than $1. But overall, again, really, really nice articulation. There's that knee again. And you got a little bit of that spin right there. You can, it just takes some work. I mean, because everything's really tight on that aspect. So, but overall, McFarlane, again, you have my vote. From an animation accurate, and now from an articulation, I think yours is better. I changed my mind. That's what happens sometimes when you're just doing the review for the first time. These are my first McFarlane figures I've ever owned. So I didn't know what to expect. I didn't know what I played with before were just Star Wars figures and Transformers. Transformers have articulation because they got to transform, right? But these are cool. Now, these aren't my last McFarlane figures. I got a whole slew of them in the garage that I can't wait to open for you all on that aspect. So, but on a good, bad, awesome, very awesome. Maybe just because it's the fanboy speaking out of me because I love Demon Slayer, but these are awesome. I'm so glad I got them. I'm so glad they're in my life. I hope they're in your life. I hope this helps you out. I got to read your name again. I can't remember. I hope this helps you out. Oh, Splinters, Nakeo. I hope this little review, I hope I was able to go into more in depth around that articulation for you and kind of let you see that. And I hope that helps you make your decision on should you get them or not. Because that's what it's ultimately about. Should it be something you all get? And sometimes I unbox this stuff so you don't have to. So you can go, you know what? I'm just going to save my money. A lot of times, but I wait on clearance for some of this stuff because some of it I'm like, 24 bucks. I don't know. But $5, yeah. But if it's something I really want, like these Demon Slayer figures, I'll pay $24.99 for in a heartbeat. The Figma figures, which I'd love to get, those would range you from $100 to $200, just depending on what you're looking at on those aspects. And then the Nendroids, they're just cute. They have some fun stuff too as well. But that is my review. That is the updated review of the McFarlane 7-inch figures. And just from a comparison, like I said, if you want just some cheap generic figures, the 5-inch will do the job. They just aren't very articulate. But I like the Zenitsu one because you get the thunder, the lightning and the thunder. So, but that's for another day on that. And then Nezuko, she's my least favorite of the three. And my main reason is she's got the wobbly knees and the wobbly legs. They're very, and maybe that's just my copy, but her waist, everything is just very not tight at all. And see, like, there goes her leg. Just popped right off. Maybe that's a defect, maybe not. But she's not my favorite of the three. So she would be number 3. Number 1 would be Tanjiro. He comes with, again, his water breathing part here. Number 2 would be Zenitsu, and then number 3 would be Nezuko. Now, the Bandai one, if you do get the Bandai, you can pick up an Inosuke. And I hope Todd, that you release an Inosuke to go along with these guys. And I'd love a Genya now. I mean, because if you haven't watched season 4 of Swords of the Village, you know what? He kind of grew on me. But Inosuke for the Bandai. And the Bandai Inosuke doesn't look bad because the mask is pretty accurate. And then from an articulation, he's as articulate as the other ones. So, but tune in next time when we review something else amazing. Could be anime, could be Star Wars, could be Transformers. I actually got a crap ton of Transformers I got to get through. So with that, I encourage you to stay young, have fun, and be awesome. We'll talk to you later.